Today, 1 in 4 Canadian households is paying more than it can afford for housing. 1 in 8 can't find affordable housing that's safe, suitable, and well-maintained at the same time. When affordable housing is in short supply, Canadians feel less secure and our whole economy suffers. The continuum of housing is comprised of all of the options from home ownership to private market rental housing, to subsidies in the private rentals, to purpose-built subsidized housing, and to services to the homeless. Homeless shelters like this one provide temporary place to sleep with a meal and access to showers. They offer little in the way of privacy and often have many people sleeping in the same room, in bunks, on mats on the floor. These were meeting the needs, but now the rate of poverty has caused homelessness to exceed the shelter bed spaces. Options that meet people's need, whatever stage they're in, are essential along the housing continuum. Whether you've become an elder and you begin to need support, or younger in life and your life has led to some difficult path, supported housing can make all of the difference. Affordable housing buildings are welcoming and help to grow your own sense of community by incorporating activities and art that bring people together and offer commonality. Safety and belonging are the two most important benefits of affordable housing. Without support and a sense of belonging, people become isolated and begin to fall between the cracks. Their ability to maintain their housing and their own well-being becomes affected. This often leads to greater health care and social costs. Affordable housing provides modest accommodation without frills. When people are ready, they can choose to change their stars. They seek higher education and employment. This is life-changing for families. Family housing is a part of our continuum of housing. It's needed to help young families continue to work and support our economies. The very high cost of rent in the private market is about to get higher. The BC provincial government has just approved a 4% in rental increases for 2018, which is the largest in the last 5 years. This will put a greater pinch on families focusing on making ends meet. Groups such as the Brain Injuries Society in PenTALKton provide housing where rents are geared to the income of the tenants in those households. When the income goes up, so do their rents. When their income goes down, with the help of subsidized affordable housing, we're able to lower their rents to help keep them in housing and keep them from homelessness. This provides longer-term stability for them in the end and reduce that homelessness. Subsidies have been provided as a safety net of the affordable housing end of the housing spectrum. Just like the rungs of a ladder in a child's playground, the parts of healthy housing continuum need to be there to support our community members through all of the various stages of the game of life. The National Housing Strategy was announced by the federal government today. They're promising $40 billion over 10 years to reduce homelessness by 50% and to focus on housing senior women and women fleeing domestic abuse. Places like Abbott Towers in this picture provide housing to seniors with low to moderate incomes. The next generation of seniors is the least financially prepared for their retirement years. There are over 300 current seniors on my housing waiting list for Abbott Towers right now. We house 97 seniors there currently. This number is expected to grow with the aging population within our community. There are varying degrees of seniors housing along the continuum. This building offers meal services in addition to the subsidized rents to keep seniors independent as long as possible, reducing the costs for health care. Some affordable housing is not subsidized, but the rent is offered at a low, break-even to operate model. Other buildings use methods to charge full market cost for some suites to offset the cost of a small portion of the suites at a much lower cost. This model helps to provide a mix of income types and builds a more balanced tenant group. Our system of home purchasing is supported by a federal program. The government provides home buyers with less than 20% down payments to purchase mortgage insurance, either from Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation or a private insurer. That insurance is backed by the Government of Canada, and by shielding lenders from losses and the riskiest borrowers, it makes it easier for primary first-time home buyers to purchase a home. Lenders don't charge higher rate for those loans. The needs of the community will continue to change over time. Demographics in our community are at a tipping point with 49% of our population currently over the age of 50. New housing developments should take this into consideration for each location to be adapted in the future for the needs of the coming generation to use those same buildings when we finally get to be having our less than 50 years old in the future. This is a picture of what a new housing development might look. The provincial government is looking at doing some modular homes. I think Vernon has just been approved for one of these. This has been put together with CCANs and developed in a way very affordably to provide housing for people who have been experiencing homelessness. This picture shows a redevelopment of a mobile home site here in town, and in the foreground you can see a newer mobile home, and it's placed next to an older mobile home. So this is a lovely thing as we're looking at keeping our community vibrant and fresh, but it's taking away a lower cost of affordable type of housing because the new person is probably paying a mortgage for their home, and those older homes, they don't have a mortgage, so people can afford to live there a little more effectively. For the future success of our community, it'll depend on smart growth features like other speakers have spoken about tonight for the best use for land that's available. Very low density housing like mobile home parks are more affordable ownership options, but it takes a large amount of land to place all of the homes there. Other ways to preserve affordable housing will have to be a better land use. There is a need for new innovation to create housing models that look beyond the immediate needs and envision purposes of the future. The co-op, for example, is an innovation. With the required participation level of all co-op members and the costs of operating this model are reduced by the in-kind contribution of each member, along with a down payment on their part. Housing is not an option, it's a necessity. Every one of us need it. Housing is proven to be the single most important tool to alleviate poverty and the effects of disabilities, such as brain injuries, mental health conditions, and addictions. Lack of housing security leads to a pain that cannot be relieved without providing a stable place to live. Thank you.